crowds at Jolly's this afternoon as 8 days of the Embassy World Professional Darts Championship reached their climax with the final that the public most want to see. It's Eric Bristow against John Lowe, the world's top two players, battling over 11 sets for a prize of £10,000 and the title Professional Champion of the World. And believe me, not one of the 1,000 or so spectators here this afternoon remains uncommitted. Well, Eric Bristow's cocky confidence, always predicting that he's the man who's going to win, doesn't endear him to everybody. You either love him or hate him. And John Lowe's supporters here this afternoon are certain to be swelled by those who just want to see Eric Bristow lose. Well, the bookies don't think that's likely because they make Eric Bristow 5-2 on favourite, and history also argues against John Lowe. Although both men have reached this final 4 times, Lowe has only won the title once, while Eric has won it on 3 occasions, including 1981, when he beat Lowe in this final. But I doubt if that memory haunted John Lowe's slumber last night as he abandoned his normal 50-mile drive back to his home in North Derbyshire and stayed overnight instead at the Players Hotel. With £150,000 already banked from his darts winnings this winter, John Lowe is able to regard it as just another darts match. He's already completed the 9-dart finish and won 2 important finals in recent months, and outwardly at least remains as calm and unruffled as ever. Morning coffee wasn't going to be disturbed, not by the small boys preparing in the background for the next decade of World Championships, nor by whatever the morning papers had written about his semi-final or predicted for his showdown with Bristow. Practice was a solitary relaxation, more habit than serious preparation. And his preference for the bull finish has already been proved throughout this tournament.
Bull is left, could be 18, double 16 or the bull. Looks like he's concentrating on the ball. He's done it!
John Lowe exudes an air of quiet confidence which suggests he's seen it all before, and at 39 he has, maintaining a full-time professional living from darts for longer than anyone else. The car and the custom number plate, 301 up, tangible evidence of just how successful he's been. Now he's on his way to another final and another confrontation with the world #1, Eric Bristow. Meanwhile, a few miles away at the crafty Cockney pub, Eric Bristow's build-up to the final revolved around his pals. It's a business interest which critics have predicted, so far wrongly, would interfere with his darts concentration. Eric likes the crowds, and there were 3 American camera crews there this morning. Maureen Flowers helping behind the bar to pull the traditional pints. Eric's brash and boastful approach to darts hasn't endeared him to all the fellow professionals. He and Lowe aren't regarded as the best of pals. But at 27, his record is unmatched by anyone. 5 times the World Masters Champion, 3 times World Professional Champion. And this crowded pub in stark contrast to the wide, empty spaces here at Jolly's as we await the arrival of the crowds and the gladiators. Well, a man who knows what it's like to play Eric Bristow in the World Professional Final and beat him is Keith Deller, who did exactly that in 1983. Keith, what advice to John Lowe on how he should beat Bristow?
I think John needs to get off to a good start. In '83, I went off to a 2-0 lead, and that put the pressure on Eric, and I think John knows that the important set to the early ones.
Can you actually plan to beat Bristow, or have you got to wait for his form to slip and give you an opportunity?
I think you've got to look at your own form. You've got to go in there thinking that you're on your top form and think that if you can get off early to an early start, you know that you're going to put pressure on your opponent, whether it's Eric or anybody.
Can you see John winning, or would you tip Eric?
Well, I think they're both playing well. I'm afraid I was on the receiving end of one of the games, and Eric's shown he's playing well. I think people are saying that Eric may not be at his best, but I think last night he proved that.
It's interesting, though, that in '83, when you beat him, he nearly went out in the first round, beaten there almost by Peter Masson. And this week, again in the first round, he was within the width of the arrow, width of the wire, rather, of being put out by Ken Summers. This was the moment.
Can you require 68 to take the match and sink the world champion? He wants 16. He wants double 16. 52. The wire ensures that Bristow lives.
It was so close. That must have been a shock to his system, surely.
Well, it's hard. First round, best of 3 sets. You know that you can't afford to make too many mistakes, and Eric didn't really get going that well, and Kenny was playing well, and then he got full of confidence, and it's why the first rounds are hardest. And
will he have forgotten about that now, or will that still be haunting away in the back of his mind?
no, he won't be worrying about that. It's 11 sets now, and Eric knows that the longer the game, there's more chance that you can make a mistake and still get back in the game.
Sure. He was certainly looking unbeatable over those last 4 sets in the semi-final with Whitcomb last night, when he went out off 102, 116, 129, 145, and this one off 161. And indeed, he won 11 of the last 12 legs in that semi-final.
We're going for it. Treble 17 for the bull. Bull. Yes, it's there, vintage Bristow.
If he plays like that, I mean, in all honesty, can anybody beat him?
Well, you've got to match it.
I mean, he says they can't, doesn't he?
That is brilliant finishing, and but John has took out a lot of big finishes as well, so I think it is going to be the crucial part of the game, who can take the big shots out when someone's leaving a shot for a double.
Not just the big scores, the actual outshots.
No, I think they'll both be scoring well. You know, they're going to hit the 180s, the 140s, but you've got to look at the doubles and the 161s, and hopefully no 167s or 170s. But
all right, well, let's give John Lowe something to think about, because he has a slight psychological advantage going into the final, because with you, he's currently sharing that £1,000 special prize for the highest 3-dart check out of the tournament. Bristow we saw do 161, but you and Lowe have both done 164, and he did it in the semi-final last night.
John, you require 164.
Della did it. It would be a pulverizer if Lowe does it now. Yes, to equal the highest shot we've had, the bull.
And the second set.
Lowe storms away with the second set, and even Cliff appreciates Lowe equals Della's highest shot out, a 164.
Tremendous check out. He's equalled your 164, so he's taken £500 off you so far. But just on John Lowe, he's had a fantastic winter, hasn't he? He's done the 9-dart check out, he's runner-up in the British Professional, he's won 2 major tournaments. Has all that taken pressure off him? Can he just go into this final now and throw and see what happens?
well, I think it's good to go into the World Professional Final with that record. You know, the 9-darter was a great achievement, and losing the final of the British Professional, so John knows that he's been playing consistently in the tournament, so he's got to feel fairly good of beating Eric today.
Yeah, despite those winnings and despite how well he's been playing, there's no doubt, is there, that Lowe passionately wants to win this tournament. Just listen to what he had to say last night.
What can I say? All I can say is that if I win tomorrow, I'm going to be the happiest man in this place.
Have you ever heard him say anything like that? I've never heard him say anything like that before, commit himself as much as that. The happiest man in the place if I win.
I think it will be. You know, it's great to be the world champion. It is, I think, the biggest tournament, which everyone else agrees.
But what does Lowe want? Does he want the money, does he want the title, or does he want to beat Bristow in the final?
I don't think John's too short for money. You know, he's done well over the years, so I think it's just a title to be world champion again.
All right, Keith, thanks for joining us. Obviously, we'll be talking to you throughout the afternoon, during the interval, the intermission, and then after the final. Meanwhile, out in the main arena, the crowd are packed into the gunnels now, packed back to the doors, and the players